Welcome to the Draft Board Hockey Show, episode 3 for the 2026 draft class. My name is Mark, and I'm joined by my boy Link from New Wave Hockey. How's it going, my friend?
It's going great. It's going great. I'm back in school officially. I mean, that was also the same for the last two podcasts, but like it really feels like it now. Syracuse hockey had their first game and win versus Penn State. This is also at the ACHA level. We weren't playing Gavin McKenna. Otherwise, that would have made national news. But yeah, everything's been great. Been super excited. And yeah, I'm working on some cool stuff. So I can't wait to talk about that in the coming weeks. It's gonna be super exciting. But man, today is very exciting because we get to do our favorite thing, which is critique other outlets' lists. And today we have two of the most critiquable with elite prospects and TSN. I'm so just gosh darn excited for today.
Yeah, you know what? We this time of year when the rankings start coming out and the mock drafts a little later on, it is a lot of fun. Now, first thing I want to say is you got to check out Fantrax coming up in the next little while. I got some big stuff coming up, so keep an eye out for that. We got some pretty cool things coming at fantrax.com/NHL Draft Pros. I will discuss next episode. I am setting everything up. It's going to be a lot of fun. So make sure you check that out in a little bit. But first things first, let's do some breakdown of our rankings. The first rankings we're going to talk about is, of course, TSN, the Sports Network. They are missing Bob McKenzie. So this is Craig Button and Chris Peters. Yes. And so, you know what? This is going to be an interesting one, actually. I love to see this. Looking at the top three, I think this is kind of synonymous with a lot of the rankings right now. The top three, Gavin McKenna, Keaton Verhoff, and Ivor Stenberg. Is McKenna at the top, Keaton Verhoff, and Ivor Stenberg. You can flip those two around in a lot of the rankings. So nothing new and exciting there, right, Link?
Yeah, I mean, it's the same kind of mold where you've got it's McKenna, Keaton, Verhoff, and then Stenberg, and then it's some combination of Rubrick, Belchitz, and Lawrence, and maybe even throw Lynn to that like next year. The thing that kind of shocked me a little bit is they have Viggo Bjork in their top 10. Not a lot of people are that bold going into this early part of the year. I think he's been fine. He's been playing in the SHL. He's looked pretty solid. He has the same amount of points as Ivar Stenberg. Obviously, I believe Stenberg's a better prospect, but Viggo Bjork, he's making himself known. He's really making a case for himself to kind of stay up in the SHL and really keep himself in the front of a lot of people's minds. I think a top 10 bid for him is not too ridiculous at this point. That's why I had him at least. But we will see in the other list that we will be talking about that he has been kind of underrated to start the beginning of this year, and that's a good place for him to be. He was not one of those prospects like, I guess, an Adam Benak from last year who was super highly rated based on how his summer went, his Hlinka Gretzky went. I think he's in the perfect spot to really just catch a lot of people off by surprise. And I'm kind of glad to see a guy like Chris Peters give him some love here. I mean, look, Chris Peters, he's had a lot of great takes for the last few years. Again, I've been a huge fan for him at Flow Hockey for a while. I'm glad to see that he's with TSN.
Yeah, you know what? I think that now Viggo Bjork is one of those things, right? When you have a sub 6 foot forward that he's pretty dynamic. Like the numbers he's put up in Sweden in the junior league has just been unbelievable. Some of the best numbers ever. Now the thing is that again, when you're going top 10, you got to be pretty. You got to hit that 6th threshold or above, and you got to put up some monster numbers in your draft year if you're going to make it in the top 10 as a 5'9", 5'10" kind of player. So it's going to be interesting to see how the season plays off. It's early. Like I said, it's early, but Viggo Bjork is in the top 10 for TSN as of this moment. Number 8 overall on the list. So going down the list, we got Ryan Marubrook at 4, Ethan Belchez at 5, Tylen Lawrence at 6. These are all kind of common places for these players. Ryan Lynn at 7, Viggo Bjork 8. And then we got Daxon Rudolph at 9. That's a common spot for Daxon Rudolph too. And they got Chase Reed finishing off the top 10. Chase Reed had a really good season last year playing for the Sioux, defenseman. And you know what? Again, he's going to have to put up some nice numbers, to follow up that season. He came in later on in the season in the Sioux and was over a point a game as a defenseman. So yeah, what do you think of Chase Reed at number 10 on the list?
I really can't help but love the kid. He's a really, really exciting player for me. That group of defensemen just outside or in the periphery of the top 10, like Daxon Rudolph, Carson Carrolls, and Chase Reed, are really exciting prospects. I go back and forth between the three all the time, but Chase Reed keeps coming back in my mind. He's just one of those really just solid defenders that I think is the perfect mix between the offense that Daxon Rudolph shows and then the NHL just stability and capability of Carson Carrolls. I really think you're seeing a really perfect mold of a two-way defenseman here. I think there's like some areas where he needs to improve. Obviously, the details in his game could have him to fall like a Logan Hensler last year. But again, I'm happy because, again, he's an American player. He looks like to be the top American player consistently on everyone's list this year. And I will be rooting for him. Hopefully I can get out to Kingston, Ontario and see a game of his. That'd be really electric, but
Yeah.
we'll see. So he is one of my favorite defensemen going into this class. But I really just want to like talk about the defensemen that are just outside the periphery. I love Chase Reed, but man, I really found myself falling in love with Carson Carrolls' game. I'm a big fan of Daxon Rudolph too, but Carson Carrolls, I really love talking about it because we had Scott Wheeler on a couple weeks ago, and that was one of the players that really stuck out in my mind where I was like, okay, I'm waiting for him to talk about him because I've been seeing a lot of just hard-nosed, really solid defensive minutes put in by him. And Wheeler was just right on the money. This is a guy who exhibits NHL habits day in and day out in his game. And that's something that a lot of NHL scouts are really going to find attractive in a player like Carson Carrolls. Yes, he's a left shot, but he's a big player and he really knows how to move with and without the puck. I really think he's going to become a very popular pick to go into the top 10 as we move along this season.
Yeah, so he's number 11 on the list as of right now. And yeah, you know what? Moving down the line, we got Adam Novotny. Now, he's another player that has kind of been in this kind of location, top 15. He's going to be playing in Peterborough this year. So yeah, you know what? There's another, he's got some decent size, decent skill. It's going to be interesting to see how he adapts to the North American style of hockey. So yeah, you know what? As of this recording, he has no points in 2 games playing for Peterborough, but like you said, he's got some value, right, Link?
Yeah, he's a nail gun. I mean, Peterborough is a bit of a rough team. It's going to be like that for at least another year or two. I mean, they just got Caden McGregor first overall in the OHL draft. That's not going to fix all their woes, but Adam Novotny really adds a lot to this roster that kind of didn't really have anything last year. Playing for HK Mountfield last year in the Czech League, he was really just balls to the wall most nights. I was really a big fan of him in the Czech League. He was really able to compete against men. I am super excited to see him play internationally because this guy can wreck a team physically. Yes, he will need to see an increase in points. And obviously, he didn't have a lot of points in the Czech League last year. I think he only had 2 points in like 45 games. And I'm not going to get worried over his first 2 games not getting any points, but again, he's gonna show off his value in different ways. And right now, he is somebody who gets under your skin, and he's going to find value in the NHL that way. He's going to be a hard player to play against, and I can't wait to see more of that in Peterborough this year. He's going to really put on kind of physical dominance in that league this year.
Yeah, I'm going to get out to watch him for a couple games for sure. And so he's ranked number 12 on TSN. Now, at number 13, it's a player that I have in my top 10, Mathis Preston. And look at the numbers already. 5 points in his first 2 games for Spokane. So yeah, this is a player. I really like Mathis Preston. I like his work ethic stuff. I think they got him listed at 5'11", if I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Again, you know, sub 6 foot player, but he is got a lot of skill, great shot. One of the things that carries his game is his shot. And already seeing some big points already. You know, it's early again, but you know, players who can put
Spokane's a wagon, so too.
Yeah, they're a wagon for sure. And if he can get over a point a game, definitely helps his draft stock. And I mean, so it doesn't hurt when you're on a pretty decent team. Your
draft
not at all.
I mean, he's well within like the range of. He's probably going to be a player that we look at, and he's going to have 100 points at the end of this year. That's probably something that he's going to be aiming towards as he tries to emulate a draft year season, much like his teammate last year, Berkeley Catton. Again, there's really a lot to love with Mathis Preston. There's so much skill. There's so much confidence in his game. I have a lot of issues with some of the details in his game. He needs to become a more refined, a more polished player. And I think that's something that I'm going to be really watching carefully for this year. But he's off to a really great start. It's hard to really deny what he has in the tank. And I think he's just somebody that come draft day, people are going to see the enormous potential he has, and he's going to go a lot higher than a lot of people have him ranked. I think he's going to go higher than I will have him ranked, and the draft is in June, so we'll see what happens. I know I'm probably going to be more of a pessimist on him, so we'll see.
All right, and then the next three, all from Sweden. We got one of Link's favorite players, Elton Hermansson. Marcus Nordmark is at 15, and at number 16 we got Malte Gustafsson. So Link, I know you're a big fan of the Swedes, and so they rank 14, 15, 16 on TSN to round up the top 16. What do you think of those? I know you're a big fan of Hermansson.
Yeah. I mean, look, the Swedes in the class, again, this is a reflection of a very, very strong Swedish class that that the TSN felt that there were 5 Swedes eligible for the top 16. And I agree with them. There are so many talented Swedes. I don't have Nordmark that high, but I think it's safe to say that 4 of those 5 Swedes will be in my top 16 when I release my list. Hermansson, again, he's just a fantastic player in my mind. In my opinion, he is Sweden's best forward in the Hlinka Gretzky tournament. However, Marcus Nordmark, his line mate, had more points and looked excellent in that tournament as well. Some people even preferred him to Hermansson. I am not as high on Nordmark. Again, I don't think a single tournament makes a player, but he is going to be very, very solid this year. He's put in a really good position right now. Nordmark is playing for Djurgårdens, which, as we all know, is another wagon. I would say Sweden's version of the London Knights, as they are just churning out players. Like, come on. You got Viggo Bjork here, and you got Nordmark after just coming off of a Frondell and Eklund year. That's crazy. But also, what goes unsaid is Malte Gustafsson is a tank on the back end. 6'4". This guy is huge, and he's got some offensive upside as well. He's a really decent skater. I think it's going to be really key to watch how much he plays up with HV71 this year in the SHL. Or the Allsvenskan, whichever the top league they're in, whenever he's out of the J20, I think it's really crucial to see how he does playing against men, because that's where he's going to really find a lot of his value. He is a defensively structured defenseman who can creep up and find some value in offense. Not to bring it back to Scott Wheeler again, but he was one of those players that, again, Scott Wheeler said could creep up into the top 10. And I agree with him. I really think he has the tools to do so. It's all about what he does this year.
Yeah. Now, one of the big surprises on this list that someone that didn't make it, and that is one of my favorite players in this draft, and that is Xavier Villeneuve. He didn't even creep up into the top 16. Now, again, he's smallish, 5'11", but he put up over a point a game last year as a defenseman, the Q. And I know, the Q, they say points kind of a little iffy with the points in the Q, but you got to look at someone. He kind of reminds me of an Axel Sandin Pellikka. And where did he go? He went 15th overall. And you know what? I think that was one of the steals. I had Axel Sandin Pellikka ranked a lot, not a lot higher, but higher than that. I think I had him at 11th when it came to my final rankings, which is just outside the top 10, or maybe I had him inside the top 10. I can't really remember. And I think that Villeneuve is the same type of player. Now, again, and if he can grow 6 feet, 6'1", and he puts up over a point a game as a defenseman again, and he's playing on a wagon too for Blainville Boisbriand, is just a unreal team this year. They're going to be phenomenal.
Yeah. Oh my gosh.
Yeah. So I that's the one kind of player that I thought that should have creeped in the top 16 at least.
I'm a big fan of Villeneuve too. I wouldn't say I'm a top 16 fan of him,
Oh.
but he's someone that's in my top 20. I think regardless, I'm gonna try my best to keep him in my top 20, because you look at the talent that he has on display, and it's really hard to bet against him. 5'10" is brutal, or 5'11" now, because I guess he's measured up now. 5'11" is brutal, especially when you're taking into effect that Ryan Lynn, who is also hailed as one of the best defensemen in this draft, is also 5'11". It's a brutal height, especially being left-handed shot as well, and being an October birthday. So that's 3 kind of things that hurt him a little bit. But the skill is on display. You can't ever really deny it. He's just a fantastic product. And he's playing with Billy Zed and Justin Carbonneau this year. How could you not love this guy? I think he's going to have every opportunity to put up a monstrous amount of points. And people who doubt the Q can doubt the Q as much as they want, but they can't doubt this talent.
No, you know what? And there are drawing some comparisons to Lane Hudson light kind of deal, because he does have that nifty kind of, skating the edge work is unreal. How he evades pressure and stuff like that. So, you know what? You like to see that in a young player, especially defensemen that kind of take, chances of that nature. I just find it exciting to watch. And I think that, the NHL is kind of moving in that direction. So, okay, so let's move on to elite prospects. And no surprise, top three, Gavin McKenna, Ivor Stenberg, and Keaton Verhoff. Now, they got Ryan Lynn at number 4, Ethan Belchez, number 5, Tynan Lawrence, 6, Mathis Preston, 7 on their list, Daxon Rudolph, 8. Oh, they got Xavier Villeneuve at 9, and Ryan Rubruck at 10. So, what's your take on that one there, Link? Link's making some...
Oh, man. Oh, I look at the most glaring one as Ryan Rubrick outside of not only the top 5, but just on the edge of the top 10. Of course, there may be some concerns about age and I guess I don't know what else you would really be concerned with. He's a really solid skater. He's a really solid puck mover. He's a great shooter. He may be even the best shot in this entire draft. I don't see the logic in putting him behind Xavier Villeneuve and Mathis Preston and even Ethan Belchez at this point. I really just see him as a really solid player. Again, we're going to see how he develops throughout the year. Everyone kind of was really hot at the beginning of last year on a guy like Porter Martone and then kind of cooled off, but he stayed in the top 10 for the most part. Ryan Rubrick kind of starting off at this position for elite prospects is honestly quite surprising for me. I really did not think that they would all go in this direction. I don't know who was not advocating for him in the room. Was the OHL guy sick that day? I don't know. We'll see. But I'm planning on seeing Ryan Rubrick as much as I can. And he is one of those players that he has the skill set. He has the build to be aiming for potentially making the World Juniors roster for Canada this next year. Porter Martone did it. So it's not really out of the realm of possibility for him. He has the pedigree. He has the situation for himself to do it with. He has the legacy with Team Canada. I think that he's somebody that should be his goal. That should be his mark. And he is a player that, in my opinion, is firmly in the top 4 and is competing for that second overall spot. He's a very competitive player. So what he's doing at number 10 beats me, but I'd love to have a conversation about it.
You know what? Last year had 87 points in 64 games, 41 goals. Now listen, 41 goals in your D-1 season, although he is a 2007 birth date. However, those are still some pretty impressive numbers, to say the least. And for him to drop to the, top 10, or 10th overall, sorry. Yeah, that's a little bit, you know what? We'll see. But like you said, ahead of Ethan Belchez, Mathis Preston, Xavier Villeneuve, behind, those players, that is
a lot.
Interesting.
Even over your boy, Xavier Villeneuve.
I know. I wouldn't put Ryan Rubruck behind Xavier Villeneuve at this point for sure. All right, moving on down. Let's see what happens here. Okay, so number 11, Carson Carroll's. Okay, that's similar. Oh, look, they got Luke Scherer at 12th overall. Yegor Shilov at 13, Chase Reed at 14, Viggo Bjork at 15, and Malte Gustafsson at 16. So a couple of interesting ones here. We got Scherer, Shilov at 12 and 13. Link.
Look, they like their guys. I'm not going to give them too much crap about it. I actually particularly like Luke Scherer. I think he's a really solid defenseman. Is he top 20 solid? That's another debate. I don't think he's above a guy like Chase Reed. I don't think he's in the market of the top 10 pick just yet. I know I was someone who was really, really high on Logan Hensler, and a lot of people were like, "Why are you so high on Logan Hensler?" No, but Luke Scherer, I think this is not a horrible placement for me. I think he's a really solid player. He's someone who is going to really be a very tight back end player for the USNTDP this year, and they will need someone like him after last year's U18 team lost guys like Hensler, lost guys like Dakota Rail Mullen. So they will have some stability this year. Hopefully we're going to see a better USNTDP this year because of Mr. Luke Scherer. But Yegor Shilov here for the Victoriaville Tigers, the QMJHL. I guess there's no QMJHL bias over there at EP. I will say Shilov has looked pretty good in his 2 games that he's played. I'm not someone who's going to put him that high. I actually particularly like, I would say, 2 Russians ahead of Shilov at this point. But again, he's very dynamic. He's someone who has found the back of the net more often than not, and he is he's someone that is creative. He's someone that he can really be dynamic in the offensive zone. Really nice shot too, as well, as you're seeing on this highlight. Again, there are some critiques with his game and details and stuff like that, but again, it's the early part of this year. EP likes their guys. Someone's clearly advocating for Shilov in the EP draft room, and I can't blame them, because again, he has a right in this early stage as anyone, but in my opinion, he's going to fall out relatively quick. So we'll see what happens.
Yeah, you know what? It's funny. The elite prospects, they do have some, favorite players, I guess you could say,
Yeah.
and they kind of stick with them throughout the season. And there's nothing wrong with that. Sometimes they hit, sometimes they don't. Shilov, last year played for Green Bay in the USHL, had like 30 points, I think, in 40 games. So, nothing disrespectful in your D-1 season, but, starts off the season this year with 3 points in 2 games for Victoriaville, like you said. So it's one of those things where, will he maintain that pace? The progression. We always look for progression, and it'll be interesting to see it. You know what? This year, it's one of those seasons in terms of the rankings where early on the season, and you see it last year too, where sometimes there's bias for the Linka Gretzky. We see that with some of the Swedes. And then, as the season progresses, you got to watch with players that start off really hot and they start ranking them really high. So last year is a good example. Cameron Schmidt, he started the season on fire. Did he make it in the first round? Negative. So same thing, you saw him. I saw him in top 15 discussions last season after, a month into the season. I'm like, whoa here. Let's settle down a little bit.
5'7", guys, 5'7". Let's
remember. And that's what, and then people are like, oh, he's 5'8". I mean, yeah, you gotta be pretty dynamic if you're 5'8" and to be a top 10, top 15 pick in the NHL. Let me tell you something. So, early on, these rankings are going to change. We've said this, time and again. So the top 16 for TSN and elite prospects, some pretty interesting, not, nothing too out of the ordinary. Like you said, a couple of hot takes, but for the most part, you see a lot of the same names in the top 15, 16. So that's kind of, where we're at right now. But
It's a little quirky. Look,
It's early. It's early, Link.
It's early. I gotta
right?
remind myself, because I can't be this talking head. It's like they're all wrong, and then they'll never hire me. They'll look at me and be like, oh, he just hates us. No, I'm kidding.
All right. So what time it is? It is time for Name That Prospect. Yes, Link has one for it. He said he want to name one today. I was supposed to do it, but then Link came in. He said, no, I got a good one. I got a good one for us. I got a good one. So I was like, Link, it's all yours.
Yes, I actually got some feedback. I got a DM on Twitter saying, like, Josh Norris isn't a prospect. Ugh. Well, some of you got it, and and it was a pretty hard one. And I'm glad that a lot of people were really just like responsive to it. So good on you guys for getting it. However, I brought out the big guns for this one, guys. Not only is this prospect a more recent draft pick, it was taken in the 2023 NHL draft. It is a goalie taken in the goalie-heavy second round of that draft. And the notable thing about this prospect, I will not be giving away which team drafted him. I won't even be giving away which team he plays for now in the NCAA. All I'm going to say is that he is from the same state of where he plays in and where his team drafted him. And he's a goalie. He's 20 years old, and he plays in the NCAA, taken in the second round of the 2023 NHL draft. If you think you know who that is, I'm
yes, that should be more than enough clues to name that prospect. Yes, let us know in the comment section below. Now, again, in the next few days, check out some Twitter or YouTube feeds about fantrax.com/NHL Draft Pros. Something big is coming. You're going to want to keep your eyes open for that. And that is it for this episode. Link. Fun talking some rankings. Next week, we got a special guest. Hopefully, Brock Otten from McKean's Hockey is going to come on, talk about some OHL prospects with us. Looking forward to that. Brock is just amazing. and I
He's a
love
whiz.
talking to him.
He's an OHL whiz. I love him. He's a great guy. He's now my boss, which is just awesome as well. So I'm super excited to bring him back on again and grill him about some OHL prospects, talk a little Chase Reed with him, because I'm just so excited to see him when he eventually goes to Kingston, and I get to see Chase Reed in Kingston, which is the closest to my college. So that'll be super, super fun. I'm super excited to have Brock Otten on for next episode. That'll be awesome. And don't forget, guys, keep bringing in those follower questions.
Where have our follower questions been? We didn't even get one last week. We're kind of slow on that. Let's go.
The draft is picking up. We're here. We're your draft guides. We are people that can tell you everything you want to know about these prospects. You want to know what his favorite food is? I got you 100%. Give us some follower questions. Give us a prospect that you think we haven't been mentioning enough for next episode. That would be, again, I just need some OHL guys to talk about with Brock. So set us up. That'd be great.
And that is all for this episode. Thanks for watching, everyone, and we'll see you next week. Cheers.